Hi, my name is Ace.
And I'm Jason.
And welcome to the Guitar Show Live podcast in association with SAE. We've been having some real fun. We've been talking to the artists, we've been down in the show, we've been talking to the manufacturers as well, and we've got some great stories and some real fun things to share with you about the whole show, spotting out the community, the whole lot.
Yeah, we got 20 episodes that are going to roll out over the next year, so strap yourselves in.
Hi, Chris.
Hello, how are you doing, mate?
I'm really good. How are you?
Yeah, good. I've just been on the Lark Live stage, talking a load of nonsense and playing a couple of songs, and it went really, really well.
It was good. I came into the room. I didn't have a long time in there, but I came in at some really good pivotal moments. We've got all different people here, right? We've got players, we've got demonstrators, we've got salespeople. Everyone has a different story about music. And I thought what was very interesting, what you were saying earlier on, was about everyone can have the chops. There's a space for everyone, right? But, playing in a band, there's a certain skill set that is really important. And it's quite basically understandable, really. It's not difficult. Can you tell me a little bit about that kind of skill set that kind of keeps you going as a live player for so many years?
Well, you do it, as I said earlier on. You're the person you are, the person you present yourself to everyone else. The way you behave, the way you interact with your bandmates, is as important, if not more important, than your technical ability. Mm-hmm. Because if you're on a 6-month tour on a bus, as you know, you've got to be able to get on with people. You have to be sympathetic to people. And if you're hard to work with, you'll very, very quickly run out of gigs. As you know, you choose who you work with.
Yeah, and you've been out with Thunder since 1996.
1996.
Okay, so you are a whippersnapper, because I've been out since 94.
Wow.
Right. So no, I'm joking. So you've been out since 96. That's a long time.
Yeah,
right?
It really is. Yeah.
And with it's like, I'm not sure who's still in the band at the moment, because the last time I saw you, I was actually out on tour with you in the sidelines as a DJ compere with Crusher. Everyone knows Crusher.
No, absolutely.
So tell me about the band now. Is it the same personnel? Is it Harry? Who's in there?
It's the same personnel, but unfortunately, the singer Danny had a brain injury a couple of years back, which he's recovering well from. But obviously, it's taken a long time because he nearly died. It was pretty horrific. So at the moment, we're on a bit of a hiatus, and everybody's doing other projects. Luke did his solo albums, which he's touring in November with Little Angels, and I'll be on that as well.
Okay, and I know Bruce from Little Angels. I was speaking to him a couple of days ago about the tour.
It's a small business.
And Mark from Skunk Anansie was in Little Angels. He's doing the tour.
Oh, there you go.
So as a drummer, so we're all connected, and I think this is what we're talking about. It's a passion-led industry, and for you to be in it a long time, you have to have passion, and that takes dedication. So as we all get older, we know each other because we're survivors in a way, and our passion is our survival, right? So with, for instance, Thunder, one thing I saw when you're on tour, which I thought was really cool, was the interaction with your fans. After every show, you would meet them, sign stuff, you had these meet and greets. Tell me a little bit about how you nurture that fan base.
Well, when you think about it, you're only there because of your fans. They buy the records, they buy the tickets. Without them, you're nothing. You can't exist. So you have to treat them with the reverence they deserve. You have to look after them. You have to make sure they always have good value for money, that they always enjoy when they come to see you. They have a great time. This is something that was written about Thunder years ago, is that everybody comes away from a Thunder show with a smile on their face. Which is what you want. You want people to enjoy it, be there for the love of it.
Do you think that it kind of like, you feel that, back when I was younger, right, and Thunder was like ruling the charts, like we're talking A Broken Dream, all those kind of things, right? Yeah, that kind of thing. You had this huge following, right? Have you felt the transition between a following and a community? With this kind of, we're talking about fans.
There definitely was like a Thunder family, and they treated it as such. They would all enjoy getting together for the shows. They would be there for the show for us, but as much as being there for each other. You know, it was a real community thing. And we had the fan club we had in the early days, and then we had Patreon a bit later on. And of course, then as everyone else does, we started doing the VIP tickets.
That's right.
Which was driven by a need to create more income, because it's become increasingly hard to make money in the music business, hasn't it? Because, you know, dwindling record sales, blah blah blah. But the VIP thing was very important. Sorry for the stupid pun there, but it was really important from a band's point of view, and from a fan's point of view, to just see slightly behind the curtain and be there. Because what we would do is they would come in for sound check. So we would be there, we'd do our sound check, then they'd come in and they'd be standing there. So basically they'd get a private gig. We played sort of 3 or 4 songs, and we never charged a fortune for it, so it was great value for money. So again, the fans went away really, really happy with what they got, and you have to maintain that.
I did. I saw a bunch of those meet and greets, and they were really great. The vibe was really, really good, and the people were so happy. They felt like part of it. It's amazing. It's really good.
Yeah.
So, playing as a player, right, over the years, right, what's the most crucial part of playing? Is it about always developing your technique, or is it all about being progressive and thinking about where do I need to go on the next step to survive this part of the industry? What do you concentrate more on, progression or technique?
It's all of those things, mate. You know, you need to. I think you do. It's important to never stop learning. To never come to a point where you think, well, I'm good enough. Because at that point you might as well give up. You know, you've never learned everything. There's always something. There's so much to learn. So, you know, never stop working on your technique. But your technique is probably not quite as important as your ability to use your technique in the right way. You know, I always say it's not what you can do, it's what you do. You know, you can have all the chops and everything in the world, but if you put them in the wrong place, it's not going to work. So it's having that sensibility of knowing, okay, I need to play this here, and knowing what's going to work.
What for you? What was the pivotal point where you knew that music was for you? Because in a way, music's almost like an addiction, isn't it? You have to feed that addiction, right? Otherwise, you get withdrawal symptoms, don't you? Right? And one day you just get it, right? That it just comes. What was your pivotal moment? Where did you kind of go? That's it for me now.
I don't actually record. It's always been, you know, it's always what I wanted to do.
Something on TV? Was there anything that made you go, I want to do that?
Well, it was my brother was the singer in the band.
Oh, okay.
He was probably, I don't know, 5-6 years older, and I saw him playing, and you know, it's a very small local band, but I saw him singing, and I thought, that's what I want to do, you know, because he was my hero, and that from that point on, I was, you know, 7 or 8, and from that point I just thought, got my first guitar when I was about 10, and that was it. You know.
So what made you choose bass then? Because you just said your first guitar when you were 10.
Yeah, I started on 6-string, and I got to about 16 and realised that there were many more guitarists in the area than there were bass players. So I just thought, well, you know, and I'd always played a bit of bass, but that was why I changed, really.
Oh right, amazing. What do you think is a prime kind of like? What do you think is the not pivotal? What's the main role of a bass player in a rock band? I mean, we all know about funk and they give it all that, but being in a rock band, what's the main role of a bass player in a rock band?
Well, the role of a bass player in any band is incredibly important. I think it gets overlooked. It's the interface between rhythm and melody. You know, you're joining up the guitars and the drums, but not only that, you are responsible for, like, as you know, if your guitarist plays an A chord.
Yeah.
And you play an A on the bass, it's an A major. If your guitarist plays an A chord and you play an F sharp on the bass, it's an F sharp minor. You're changing the structure of the chord by adding the bass note. So you have that power of
That's
determining.
what our bass player does all the time in Skunk Anansie. It's like I'm like, is that note going to work? And we play it and we go, oh, that works.
Yeah,
you know?
so you're determining the harmony of the song.
Yeah, it's a really crucial role that people also don't understand about how you have to make it join. You know, work with the kick drum. That rhythm section has to groove. It has to be tight, right? And you can't just bash into it, right? Because the power comes from the bass and the drums.
Absolutely.
You know,
yeah,
like there may be the kind of the sparkle and that sonic melody, you know, but when you're at a concert, that's what hits you,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And if those aren't gelling together, it's not going to work, is it?
Yeah, no, you have to work, and this is something we touched on in the room earlier on, is working with band members, not just sitting in your room watching YouTube and practicing. Just get out and play with people, play with drummers, because the relationship between the bassist and the drummer is crucial. You know, it's the engine room of the band. It's what holds everything and drives everything.
And then there's another layer to it, that when you find the right, you know, you play with people, you get that kind of thing going on. Then you find the right people. Then you got to go through the mill with them to become a band that's good and successful and go on tour. So then it's a new journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once you've found the people, you've got to progress that one, haven't you?
Yeah. It's I wouldn't know where to start nowadays in the music industry. You know, it's very, very different from when I first started out, and I'm sure for you as well. You know, you put a band together, you wrote a couple of songs, recorded some demos, got them off to a record company. You maybe got picked up, then you go out and gig, and you know there was a journey, and it was a carefully sort of a prescribed journey that you go on, but it's not quite like that nowadays, is it? You don't have the record companies who are willing to support a band through a few albums.
Yeah.
It's very transitory. It's, you know, people want things real quick, and if it doesn't work, then it's on to the next thing.
I'm sure, right, in my memory, because I still have my memory, luckily enough, from rock and roll, about 25
Do you
years
have mine
ago.
as well?
Yeah,
By any
about
chance?
25 years ago, I had a conversation with you, I'm sure, right, when we were on that Thunder Monsters of Rock tour. And was it you who was doing the engineering and the production?
Yes, I do.
There you go. So I am right. Okay.
Amazing.
So I remember talking to you, and I said, "What do you do when you're not on the road?" Right? And you said, I work in a studio. I do engineering. I do production." Okay. So, do you still do that now?
I do. I play with a band called Taiketo.
I know.
I co-produced and mixed the most recent album, which I'm really, really pleased with. It's come out great.
Amazing. And so, you must be a great advocate for multiple income streams in the musician's lifestyle.
I think you have to. The music industry, the live section of the music industry has changed and shrunk so much.
Yeah.
I think you need to be able to diversify. And to be honest, you know, if you're going for an audition and you say, well, I not only play bass, I design T-shirts, you know, I can mix, I know a bit about the industry. It makes you employable.
Well, that's like, you know, in the old days when they said like the bass player of the Rolling Stones got the job because he had a PA. It's like the equivalent of that now is people get in the band because they can do content. They know how it works. You know, they can do T-shirts, they can do designs, all these things that used to, you know, people have this myth that someone else does it for you. But what I do find a full circle now, you know, when you say like these days it's kind of changed, right? And, you know, back in the day when I was like, I don't know, 20 years old and I was trying to make it and I was on the club scene, I had to have loads of jobs then, right? I was doing artwork. I was working in a club. I was a roadie. I had all these other jobs so that I could be in a band. So, you know, people moan a lot about that now. I've got to do all these other things. Back in the day, we had to do that.
It's true.
But we were supported more once we got record deals. Right. I mean, that's the difference, right? So I think the hard work, the graft, the diversification of your career has never changed. I think that people kind of had a time where they thought someone else did it for them. It's gone full circle. It's punk rock. It's come round again.
Right.
So for you, right, here's a question, right? So you and me both, we've been doing this a long time, right? We can kind of almost play in our sleep. Right, so we don't have to do 6 hours a day this. You've probably got a family as well, I expect, right? The same as me. What do you do when you're not doing music that's creative, that kind of fulfills you?
Um,
Or recreational, golf or driving or...
We travel a lot. My wife and I travel a lot. We're both massive plane nerds. We go to a lot of aviation shows and air museums, that kind of stuff. But most of our time, when I'm not traveling for work, we do travel. We've been to America quite a lot and Europe. And that's one thing I really do enjoy, seeing the rest of the world.
I live not far from Colindale from the RAF Museum.
All right.
So, yeah, so my B-52 is my favourite in there. You know, that's the one. I've got pictures with me and my son with that. You've got to see this plane. So when my kids were young, because it's free as well, right? It was always a great day out, wasn't it? Go to the airplane museum. Everyone loves it, and you just spend your money in the canteen and the gift shop.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's one of my favourite things. But you definitely, psychologically, music's hard, right? And it's very hard for people to, you know, mentally get over some of the knocks and bumps that you have, right?
Absolutely.
So you do need something, don't you, apart from just the music to kind of zone out on, to kind of like take you away from it for a time, don't you?
Yeah, you do, and it's true. You need to be in the music business for a prolonged period of time. You need to be tenacious. You need to be very thick-skinned. And you need other people. You know, you need buddies in the music. You need in the musicians around you. You need people that you can get on with. You know, that's really important. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really take any time off from music, I got to admit, because you know, for me, it's I wake up in the morning. A lot of the time, there'll be a song in my head, so
I'm exactly the same.
I get up, get in the studio, and start trying to write it down. You know, so
I totally agree with you. It's like basically I don't take any time off music because I love it. It's my choice. That's what I want to do, and that's what interests me. You know, I go home, they're watching a film. I haven't watched the Harry Potter series. All right, I haven't watched it, but I've written a whole bunch of songs in my studio.
Yeah.
And then if I get any time, if everyone's out of the room, I'll watch a music documentary or I'll read a biography, you know, and then I'll go and practice my guitar. I was practicing yesterday, you know. So I love music so much that my recreation is music. Going to watch a band is fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very rare I actually do anything else. And people say to me, you work all of the time. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't see it as work. I see it as a really nice way to spend my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that you can be, you know, you can be like that. You can be obsessed by music as long as you're feeding it in the right ways.
Yeah.
Right. It's an amazing thing to do. So you and me, we've been around a long, long time doing this. We're still doing it, which is amazing. Is there something that you feel you still want to achieve?
That's a tough one, really. I'm happy just to keep doing it, mate, to be honest with you. You know, to do this for as long as I can. I don't know. I've played some, as we both have, played some great festivals, played some great stages, done some amazing tours. Just to be able to carry on doing it, that's good enough for me, you know.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, that's a great way to end. Thank you very much, Chris Charles. Enjoy the rest of the show. Last question. Are you going to buy anything?
Well, last year when I was here, because I play Dingwall basses, and they had a very nice one, which and the worst thing happened. The very worst thing happened. My wife looked at it and said, "Oh, that's nice." So I said, "Okay." I've got the green light, so I had to order that one. But they've got another one there, which but I might well be tempted. There's some very nice stuff around.
Brilliant. Have an amazing day.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Okay, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.